Eric Dubay is still churning out content after all this time. He doesn't even respond to any debunkings and seems hell-bent on continuing his mission to get everyone on Earth believing that it's flat. Hello all and welcome along to another episode of Flat Earth Friday with me, Simon Dan. Thank you very much for joining me. Right, back to today's video where, as I mentioned at the start, we are once again taking a look at Mr. Eric Dubay. Now, he's recently made a habit of getting some of the globe Earth arguments and trying to turn those round and debunk them. Now, recently he's taken aim at long-haul flight paths, which we've brilliantly debunked in the past, and he's going to explain how they work on a flat Earth. This should be very interesting. Away you go, Eric.
Another supposed proof often offered up by globe debaters involves alleged time and path issues with long-haul southern hemisphere flights. For example, the direct flight route from Sydney, Australia to Santiago, Chile takes an average of only 13 hours to reach its destination, a duration which globe earthers claim is impossible over a flat Earth.
Well, I don't know about that, but if you make the same distance journey in the northern hemisphere, say New York to Tokyo, then you should have vastly different flight times on a flat Earth. You see, on the globe Earth, these two routes have only a 500-kilometre difference in terms of distance, and they both take roughly 14 hours. However, on your flat Earth map, Eric, the New York to Tokyo route is vastly shorter than the Sydney-Santiago one. Yet they take very similar times. What's going on there, Eric?
They say that since the Sydney to Santiago flights with US stopovers take twice as long to reach their destinations as the NonStop flights, that this proves the direct flights are not traversing the US and could not be completed so quickly over a flat Earth.
No one has ever said that. I'm not interested in the stopover flights. I'm interested in the direct ones, like the two I've just mentioned there. I guarantee you no flat earther will mention these.
As with all globe arguments, however, this hasty conclusion does not follow from their spurious reasoning. To begin with, if Earth were truly a sphere, the shortest route for all such flights would be a straight line over Antarctica.
No, it wouldn't. It would be a straight line running through the shortest route, which is calculated using great circles. Now, it turns out that this is actually the shortest route. Flying over Antarctica would make you actually go further.
If this flight path was actually possible, it would cut off many hours and many hundred miles. But pilots are given the excuse that Antarctica is too cold to fly over, so not a single plane actually takes the shortest, fastest route over a spherical Earth.
Apart from the fact that it isn't the shortest and fastest route. Let's try and manufacture a great circle that travels over Antarctica, shall we? How about Cape Town to Sydney? Nope. What about Johannesburg to Wellington in New Zealand? Ah, there we go. Now, does this direct flight exist? Unfortunately not. You need to have a stop and you fly to Sydney first for this one because the flight is operated by Qantas. It would make no commercial sense to go straight to New Zealand if you were Qantas. The point is, there are very few direct flights that need to fly over Antarctica.
Now, even conceding this point, if Earth were truly a sphere, then the second shortest route for all such flights would be a straight shot due east or west over the Pacific, staying in the southern hemisphere for the entire flight. Refueling could even be done in New Zealand or other southern hemisphere destinations along the way, if necessary. In reality, however, 99% of Santiago to Sydney and other long-haul southern hemisphere flights admittedly cross the equator twice, going high into the northern hemisphere, making stopovers at LAX and other North American airports before continuing back down to the southern hemisphere.
Well, Sydney to LA, for example, is actually a longer distance than Sydney to Santiago. I wonder why this is. Oh look, here's one that goes direct, run by Qantas, an Australian airline. Now, the reason you sometimes get a stopover in a country is because the flight operator airline is based in that country that you stop over. It's about commercialism, making as much money as you can for your airline. Why would you fly direct somewhere if you could fly to base first and pick up a load of customers?
Here are a few more examples. On a globe, Santiago, Chile to Johannesburg, South Africa should be an easy flight, all taking place below the Tropic of Capricorn in the southern hemisphere. Yet every listed flight makes a curious refueling stop in Senegal near the Tropic of Cancer in the northern hemisphere first.
That's really funny because whilst I can't find a direct flight here, most stopover flights stop in either US or Angola, nowhere near Senegal.
When mapped on a flat Earth, the reason why is clear to see, however, because Senegal is actually directly in a straight line path halfway between the two. On a globe, Johannesburg, South Africa to Sao Paulo, Brazil should be a quick, straight shot over the Atlantic along the 25th southern latitude, but instead, nearly every flight makes a refueling stop at the 50th degree north latitude in London first.
Does it though? Again, here are multiple flights from Johannesburg to Sao Paulo, every single one of them stopping in the country that the airline flying is based.
On a globe, Johannesburg, South Africa to Perth, Australia should be a straight shot over the Indian Ocean with convenient refueling possibilities on Mauritius or Madagascar. But in actual practice, most Johannesburg to Perth flights curiously stop over in either Dubai, Hong Kong, or Malaysia.
Our survey said...
Wrong again. Qantas flight direct.
On a globe, Cape Town, South Africa to Buenos Aires, Argentina should be a straight shot over the Atlantic following the same line of latitude across. But instead, every flight goes to connecting locations in the northern hemisphere first,
And you can pretty much guarantee that they're to the countries where the airline is based.
stopping over anywhere from London to Turkey to Dubai. Such ridiculously wayward detours as these make no sense on the globe, but make perfect sense and form nearly straight lines when shown on a flat Earth map. As for the Sydney to Santiago direct flight, data from Google Flights cites an average duration of 13 hours and 22 minutes, with data from Google Earth citing a total distance between the two of 7,063 miles. Dividing 7,063 miles by 13.3 hours gives a necessary average flight speed of 531 miles per hour, which according to Google search is just below the 540 mile per hour average flight speed of commercial airliners.
And I have no problem with this, but you've got a problem as soon as we start talking about those flights that take roughly the same time, like the New York to Tokyo one that I mentioned earlier, which, let's remember, on a flat Earth are much closer together than Santiago and Sydney. But let me guess, the pilots are in on it and they're deliberately flying slowly.
In other words, not only are such flights easily possible over a flat Earth, but they also take exactly the amount of time expected. Some globe debaters will acknowledge this fact, but rebut with the claim that non-stop Sydney to Santiago flights follow a great circle route over the Pacific, remaining in the southern hemisphere the entire time, therefore increasing the necessary flight distance, speed, and duration.
Well, no, because the direct route will be the shortest one.
With regards to this claim, firstly, it has yet to be proven that these flights even exist, since no unedited video footage exists online, and every time flat earthers have attempted to book the non-stop flight, it fails to go through, gets cancelled and refunded days before departure, or changes to a non-direct flight.
I 100% do not believe that from Eric. Every time. So what, once?
Secondly, if they do exist, it is yet to be proven that these flights follow such a path, because again, there is no unedited video footage, flight trackers cut out over the oceans.
No, they don't. Here is flight BSC 384, Brussels to Miami, smack bang in the middle of the Atlantic.
And it is highly unlikely, considering 99% of other long-haul Southern Hemisphere flights take radical northern detours. Even conceding all of the above, however, there is still no reason that such flights would be impossible over a flat Earth. 540 miles per hour is the average commercial airline speed, but most Convairs and Boeings have the capability of traveling much faster, especially during such long-haul flights, upwards of 600 to 800 miles per hour. The Concorde commercial airliner actually had a maximum flight speed of a whopping 1,480 miles per hour. Furthermore, trade winds and jet streams exist, which pilots regularly take advantage of, that can boost airspeed up to an extra 200 miles per hour. Therefore, even if such a flight exists, and travels non-stop the exact route globe debaters claim, by simply speeding up and taking advantage of trade winds and jet streams, planes would still be perfectly able to reach their destination on time over a flat Earth.
And you know what? I may not be able to argue that, but there is no doubt that flat earthers have problems when it comes to long-haul flights, especially when you compare flights in different hemispheres. Once you start to address that, maybe we'll take you semi-seriously. Well, there we go. That's the end of another fine edition of Flat Earth Friday. Thank you so much for watching. We are done and dusted for another Flat Earth Friday video. It really is appreciated to have you watching. If you enjoyed it, please do hit the subscribe button. We're on our way to 500,000 now. And of course, if you really enjoyed it, hit that like button too. I've been Slimeman Dan. Have yourself a great day, and I'll see you on Tuesday, where we're going to have another look at Owen Benjamin. And he's still banging on about the moon. See you then.